I'm Shiloh from Must Be Stopped Monday, and you're watching the El Cartel Show. Nice. What up, girl? Just wind it slow. What up, girl? Just wind it slow. What up, girl? Just wind it slow. What up, girl? She's a twerkaholic. She need me to get this. Oh my gosh, dude, the memories in that song. Okay, what's up, my huggers and kissers? How we all doing today? So today we got a video expose on a creator by the name of Frogan. Frogan is a Muslim creator, Twitch streamer who streams on the platform twitch.tv. In recent times, she went on to stream to say that she didn't care if veterans and military personnel died or not died, right? I think that was the case, but he basically said that she didn't care if they got PTSD, and basically just disregarding the value of a human being, regardless of the soldier, etc. It's a human being, right? And the basis of being a soldier is you fight for the passion of your country. Now, there's going to be, obviously, if you're fighting for a country, that means you're opposing a different source. So obviously the other side is not going to be too fond of that. Right. And in her defense, you can understand where she's coming from, where even if the place where she resides is an antagonizing from the source that she lives in, because she's a United States citizen, yet she's saying that she doesn't care if the people who are in the United States are, doing their job, because at the end of the day, it's a job. They're doing their job. Like, sometimes it might not even be a personal thing. It's just like, that's just their job. They're a United States citizen and they chose to go to the military. Some people don't even go to the military willingly. Some people get drafted. Some people are forced into the military. And so it was just a very insensitive thing to say. Now we're going to look at the clip of her speaking on it, because there's a little bit more nuance in the details. So let's just look at the clip and see it for ourselves. Shall we? Let's go, dude.
I have no pity at all for any fucking soldiers.
Oh, wow. Dude, really?
Thank you so much. I will never have any fucking pity for any fucking soldiers. U.S. military? Who fucking who? I hope you get PTSD.
That's harsh.
No?
I don't know. I don't know.
I do the ones the ones I'm like whatever about the U.S. soldiers are the ones that like acknowledge that like what they did was wrong. They didn't know back then. Whatever. You're a good person in my book. I'm like a Tom. Thank you so much for the 10 gifted. The U.S. military that are like, yeah, like, I did this back then, but now I know it's wrong. Like, I'm changed. Like, fuck imperialism. Fuck this. You don't deserve the PTSD. But like any other motherfucker, you're joining them. You're, oh my god, I want my fucking Camaro, no student loans. Fuck you.
Well, see, that's just arrogance. That's just ignorance and arrogance. I hope you get
no health insurance when you get back into fucking America.
Yeah, but that's just arrogance. That's very rude and that's very arrogant to say. And the reason is because it's showing favoritism to somebody's belief in what they did, not just based on them being a human being and what they may have sacrificially had to sacrifice in the midst of joining the military. Think about it. How many people do you know want to join the military? Not that many. Some people like that stuff, but some people are forced into it. And if you're forced into it and you have to do your job of fighting a said group of people or etc., whatever you have to do, it's insensitive to then come out of it in her perspective as a third party watching on the outside looking in, to be insensitive to the fact that these people are essentially putting their lives on the line for not only the country, but you have to think about a lot of these people probably have children, and a lot of times where it goes like this: either the person's drafted, they have an actual interest and it comes down from their family tree, or this person, a school didn't work out for them, etc. Things didn't pan out to where their life is on the track to where they're flourishing in a life, so they join the military for a quick way to get their pathway as a career. A lot of people, the military is like always needing people. It's always like some people, same thing, never seals. You always get like the commercials like, only you can join the Marines or some shit like that, or like only you can, I don't know, you've seen that. So it's so insensitive because it derives from these people are sometimes like nobody wants to, I'm not gonna say nobody, but most people don't want to harm other people for a living. Some people get a thrill from that, but that's in different regards. And so say you deserve this as if malicious intent was their jurisdiction when it was always resided in the country, and so you shouldn't be taking it up with individual personnel soldiers because they're just doing their job. You should take it up with the governing bodies that force the soldiers to do that. And so to say you deserve PTSD because, you know, it's like, yeah, they're the person on that mission, but they were directed to do that. You know what I'm saying? It's not like they're in the mindset of let me harm every person ever. It's you join the military, you're put in the training, you know you're gonna have to do certain things, how to do it. It just is what it is. You fight for your country and your country only. So it's insensitive, and it's also kind of narcissistic because pandering to your own personnel and the people that you know reside with, which is probably the Islam community, I'm assuming, but you're also in the jurisdiction of the United States. So now you're holding the same standard to the people that you're using to fund, you know, your food, your hospitality, your all of your needs are met by and accommodated for by the very people that you're saying are inherently evil when it's in defense of the very country that you're in, right? And so not only did she say this, which is crazy, she also went to double down. She doubled down. What do you know? She doubled down. So let's look at it. Wait, hold on. Let's look at this real quick. We got a response from Nick Merckx. Nick Merckx, he went to Twitter to say, it pisses me off. Look, there's still so many of us in the streaming world that appreciate our veterans and those that serve this country. Thank you for our freedoms. We're grateful for our privileges. Frogan is able to stream unattended, vicariously, and unprovoked, even though she has a different religious background, through the freedom of people and U.S. military soldiers fighting for the land. Now, an argument you can make, which is, I feel like, a better argument, is that this is stolen land. And so that is in an instance where you can put an argument and there's a little bit more validity in that. But in the instance where they took the land, hey, look, they took the land and it's kind of messed up, right? Because, you know, it originally wasn't theirs. But I feel like it's kind of the survival of the fittest type of ordeal where, unfortunately, that's just how the universe played it out. Like, it sucks, right? It's fucking horrible, and you would hope that people who, you know, have the homage would pay it forward, those who are the originators of said thing. But unfortunately, that's just not how the tables are. It's an unfortunate reality. Now, these people are the reason why she's able to sit in a freedom and in the comfort of her home and speak and eat and talk shit about people who fought for the very land that she's sitting on. It's very weird, it's very hypocritical, but look, get her response where she doubles down on it without any regard. Kind of weird, kind of sad.
Any other motherfucker, you're joining them, you're like, oh my god, I want my fucking Camaro, no student loans, fuck you. I hope you get PTSD. And I hope you get no health insurance when you get back into fucking America. And they posted it in my head, I'm like, base?
This is not okay.
Base?
It's not. It's not funny.
Am I supposed to be like,
it's not okay.
Like, I'm not walking back on it. I still fucking agree with it. Base?
Yeah, so that's her doubling down on saying that people who fought for the very land that she's sitting on should be presumed post-traumatic stress disorder, where, you know, any instance of things that remind you and have a familiar mirage about your trauma will trigger that, and you will go through an episode which is not funny, it's insensitive, it's horrible. Now, after this, you know, obviously she got backlash for it because who says this? You go to Twitter, right? And she issued an apology, a damage control apology. And so we're going to read this out and see what it says. Let's look at it. Because the US military has conducted some of the most horrific crimes against humanity in the modern era in countries such as Iraq, Afghanistan, Syria, Lebanon, and Palestine. My anger is directed at the individuals who are currently championing for these war crimes as if they liberated my people. It's horrific and disgusting. The beginning of the clip was worded poorly, and I do apologize for that. I go on to clarify in the clips that I do not mean all military, but specifically those with no remorse. What I said was out of frustration, as they are currently bombing my family in the name of liberation. I realize that wishing people harm isn't the best way to talk about these issues, and that I could have talked about these topics in a more sensitive way, which is exactly right. It's so insensitive based on the fact that these people died and have PTSD, and it's on the basis of a lot of these people, because I truly don't get this like rounding off everybody into this group. Not every cop's a bad person. Not every cop's you know what I mean? Not every person in this jurisdiction is part of that. That's why we have rebels. That's why things get triumphed. That's why people can take over a monarch, because people can see the evil in certain cultures and things. And so the appropriation to round everybody off in this one group as if everybody's an evil person is ignorant. And in her case, where she says, oh well, if this person, or what she said like people who acknowledge their wrongs, the expression is irrelevant based on the fact that if said variable already did said thing, obviously them being remorseful is okay, but it doesn't dictate the exact same principle from both the variables doing said thing. So let's say right here, right, like as an analogy, we have three suspects. We have individual right here, this person's in red, and this individual is Frogan, and then we have two individuals that are two blue people, and the objective is to pick up a bag of cash. Okay, Frogan's thought process says that if both go to pick up the bag of cash, one of them is in the right and one of them is in the wrong, even though they have both have went to pick up said bag of cash, and in that principle they should be both wrong. But it's not the exact, or it's not the correct way to think about it, in terms of if this person picks up the bag of cash, one of the individuals in blue jurisdiction picked up the bag of cash and said, you know what, this is somebody else's bags of cash. I'm still gonna take it, right? But at least I'm okay. At least I acknowledge that I just robbed this person. And their emotional remorse does not contradict the fact that they did said objective. The objective was still done and it was still complete. So you'd have to hold them at the same standard, which is still an insensitive perspective. So to do this is it's irrelevant. It makes no sense. Horrible way to think about it, and it's completely insensitive. And that's what I don't get about the overall arcing theme of like, I truly don't understand why this rhetoric is like spewed so often. It seems very hatred like, and you never get anywhere with hatred. When you root your argument in hatred, it always ends up being an argument and not much of a debate where you can come to a resolution. It's the same reason why Martin Luther King was such a respected figure, is because he did the most outstanding speech, and a lot of his ideologies were not only just done with smart, concise thinking and moving forward in a progressive manner, but it was also done through peace. It was done through peace, where it's the dichotomy of, if you feel anger, you're the only person who feels anger, and I can't make you not feel that anger, but I can try my best to not make you hate me. Get what I mean? And that's kind of the perspective of it. So in that ideology, you have one person picks up the cash and is aware, and the other person. And so the overall arcing theme is wrapping them in, first part of the clip, wrapping them all in this one bubble, and then acknowledging the principle of this person. One of the people can be in a ill emotional state, and they are still remorseful in the fact that they took the cash. But then you also have to remember that there's even more people in that variable. So you would have to hold that same standard to the person who did it, even in a malicious intent, because they both did said objective. But it's very hard to put a pin on people, because in her response, I truly understand that you can hold that same leisure to somebody because they did do harm to your people and etc. But you have to realize that these individuals are not doing this because they truly want to. A lot of the times that they had unfortunate lives, or they were drafted, or some people actually do want to, but it's not always the case where it's their duty and their want and need to. Like a lot of people, if you got two options. You would be a military soldier or be a multi-millionaire movie Hollywood actor. Which one would you choose, right? You'd probably choose that one, because why not, right? It's just kind of, you're playing the cards that you're dealt. And so it should not be taken up with individualistic military personnel who are just basically soldiers or pawns who are in a bigger game of chess that's being played by higher up archies of the game of war in the world. You know what I'm saying? It's really the governing bodies that have the agendas and why these things take place. It's basically like, Night at Museum. I remember Owen Wilson when he was the little guy, right? The little cowboy guy, right? And it's basically like there's a big chessboard, and you're little Wilson, right? And you want to try to destroy the entire fucking chessboard, but you're attacking this little pawn instead of attacking the big ass human being that's controlling the pawn. You know what I mean? It's a weird analogy, but kind of gotta try to get it. It's the little pawn, right? And you got a bigger guy up here that you should be trying to wrap a rope around and push him off the ledge. I think that's what they did to Ben Stiller. That's his name. But yeah, I mean, that's really it. It was insensitive. I can understand now. It was a good apology in terms of how she responded, but just, you know, be a little bit more sensitive. That's all. And try to come at things clear-headed, you know. Don't do things out of frustration and anger, because remember, you're the only person who feels the anger. Remember that, right? Next time you feel yourself angry, remember, you're the only person who feels it. Shout out. So that's really gonna wrap us over today. Okay, all my huggers and kissers out there, be nice, because I'm always watching you, buddy. Yeah. All right, I'll see you when you're older. Peace.